What's good? Brian Tong here, and welcome to the Apple Bits for everything good and bad inside the world of Apple. This just in, Apple just dropped their official announcement for their September 10th event at 10 a.m. You know it's an Apple event. The title, by innovation only. Innovation, invitation, get it? You're so clever. Now let's check this out and break down the invitation. Look, we've got either this really like crazy jello mold, or these are the future potential colors for the next iPhone XR. We've heard rumors of purple and green, and also could they be translucent, or could this just be a really yummy jello mold? I'm leaning toward jello, but you know we're gonna have another video coming up with everything to expect. We expect to see new iPhones, a new Apple Watch, and will Apple finally give us all the details we need to know about their Apple TV Plus service? We'll find out soon, but until then, back to the show. Let's get to it. In a surprise, Apple has released the developer beta for iOS 13.1 before even releasing iOS 13 to the public. It's a move that I don't remember us ever seeing, but it's not a mistake, and it means we'll probably see 13.1 arrive a lot faster than the release of iOS 13 than it has in the past. And you know what? That also means new emojis! But they aren't active in this build just yet. So here's what's new in iOS 13.1 that brings back some features that were removed from the previous iOS 13 betas. The Shortcuts app feature for automations returns, which allows you to create personal and home automations at a certain time of the day or when it detects you're returning home. Share ETA comes back to the Maps app and lets you share your estimated time of arrival with others once directions have been entered. There's also new dynamic wallpapers, including 7 new color options that could point to or match potential 10R colors that have been rumored, but the older ones, they also have some subtle tweaks to them as well. Now, when you adjust the volume on your iOS device, if it's connected to AirPods or the HomePod, a custom icon of that device shows up very briefly on the volume indicator. There are new HomeKit icons that are more specific to devices that are represented in the app. We know there's mouse support in the accessibility options in iOS 13 and iPadOS, and Stephen Trout-Smith has found it's possible to map a long press or a 3D touch press to it for the right-click function of a connected mouse. There's also video improvements as well. HEVC, or high efficiency video coding, has been added to iOS 13.1 with alpha channels for easier green screen compositing from your devices. Now, this connects to Apple's acquisition of a Danish company called Spectral back in October of 2018 that specializes in cutting out a person from any video scene and then popping them in front of other backgrounds like a Hollywood green screen, but doing it all in real time. So maybe that could signal the return of our fortune-telling friend, Nostratongus.
Why, hello, it's me, Nostratongus!
There's also a new feature for downloading fonts from the App Store. So when you go to General and then Fonts, you'll see a screen that takes you to buy fonts from the App Store, but nothing's here yet. But it's likely a placeholder that creative apps can take advantage of in the future. Plus, small things like setting reading goals in the Settings app under Books and including the reading of PDFs with that as well. We know there's going to be a whole bunch of other features, but those are some of the bigger changes right now. And you know that I want my waffle emoji ASAP. Ooh. Now, what could be a new feature that the iPhone could have been getting, but it's not in iOS 13? Well, check this out. A new report from The Information says that plans have been shelved for the iPhone to get a walkie-talkie feature of its own. Apple was developing this tech with Intel as a way to let iPhone users communicate in areas without cellular coverage. So think about the wilderness, out on hikes, or maybe even like sometime underground in Las Vegas at CES. That happens a lot. The report says it would have been like a walkie-talkie for text messages, and the project was called Project OGRS for off-grid radio service. Now, it would have used the long-distance radio waves that bypass cell networks running over the 900 megahertz spectrum. That's normally used for radio communications, and they would use that to send messages to other iPhones in nearby areas without cell coverage. Now, how slick would this feature be, and just another ecosystem hook for Apple? But it doesn't exist. The head of the project left Apple in April, and the report said that was really his baby. Now, sure, walkie-talkie won't be coming back anytime soon, but you have to remember this. Apple and Qualcomm, they're friends again. Qualcomm will be providing the 5G modems for the 2020 iPhone, and at the very least, maybe potentially a few years after that. But Apple, they just acquired Intel's modem business, the same company they were working with for this tech, and that means this walkie-talkie feature isn't dead. Now, we won't likely see it for a few years until Apple integrates their own modems into the phone, but it could still show up one day. And I've talked about how there will be features that they can now implement specifically for their phones when they own their own modems and put it in their own hardware. And walkie-talkie is exactly one of those things. Now, Apple has also made an official announcement and apologized for its Siri quality evaluation process. They called it grading, or you could say they apologized. Yeah. So it was exposed after a recent report in The Guardian that detailed Apple contractors regularly heard private conversations from anonymized Siri samples that were recorded and then sent to Apple for grading, including things like doctor and patient conversations, business deals, potential criminal dealings, and the icing on the cake, Sessy time. Now, immediately after that report, they suspended the grading program. And how many times have I told you all Siri should not be your safe word? Come on already. That's a bad apple. But now, Apple is doing the right thing here. Moving forward, they'll only gather audio samples from users who decide to opt into the grading program. And if you opt in, you can opt out anytime. Only Apple employees will be able to listen to the audio samples, and then they'll be deleted. Not contractors, employees. So that should make you all feel better, right? Yeah, Apple also says they'll delete any recordings that have been determined to be triggered by Siri inadvertently. Apple also emphasized how they're committed to protecting user privacy at the end of their statement in their apology. I'll stop. Now, I know what I'm giving up already by having, an Echo, a Google Home in my home. The reality is that having a phone in our pocket, like our phones, know even more about us than these voice assistants do. So look, we're all locked into these ecosystems. Even if they say they aren't, you all know companies that are listening to us, so it's kind of up to you to decide if you want to play ball. But again, this is just par for the course for Apple, where they decide to do something about it once they get caught, and only once they get exposed. Otherwise, come on, it's business as usual for them. Look at this. There's a long history here. Batterygate, iPhone touch disease, that was totally denied. The MacBook keyboard replacement program, that still affects MacBooks you buy today, the MacBook Pro screen issues that have been kind of hush-hush, and then now Siri, and then on top of this, some of these issues that they have flat out denied them until they couldn't anymore. So Apple, they end up doing the right thing when they have no choice once it reaches the mainstream public, and it could become like this huge PR issue because, look, bragging in Vegas about privacy on your phone, I knew that was going to bite them in the butt, and it did. But if Apple continues to really just pound us about privacy and how they're the company looking out for ours, then they have to back that up, and really at every level. But hey, you know what? Let's end things on a high note already. You know what? Let's be happy. I told Nintendo to do this easily over 5 years ago, and now they're listening. Like, kinda. Mario Kart Tour is set to come to iOS devices on September the 25th. Limited users got access to it in May. It's a one-hand game. The cart accelerates on its own, and you swipe left and right to control it. Come on, what's the fun in that? How about just giving us full, real Mario Kart? Use the entire phone and the accelerometer instead of just like swiping back and forth. There's a reason why no one is playing the half-baked Super Mario Run at all, except the people that I just triggered in the comments. Okay, I'll be honest, I'm gonna probably download it to try it, but tracks from previous Mario Karts are being used, but again, all they have to do is release the full version classics, like Super Mario Brothers. Just go to the well, give us your classics. It's an easy, charge $5-10, and we'll just fund the next few years of R&D for you, Nintendo, if you just decide to do it. Now, you can pre-order Mario Kart Tour on the App Store right now, and then you'll get a notification when the game launches. But there you go. That's it. That's it for now. If you like this video, you know what to do. Thumbs up, subs up, and hit that notification bell, ding, to get all my latest videos. Plus, I'd love for you to check out my weekly Apple Bits XL audio podcast that dives deep into all of this stuff and news stories. And you can support all of my content and more with exclusives at patreon.com/BrianTong. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Take care. Peace.